Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and even though TBC is in full swing, Blizzard didn't dare to not deliver on patch 9.1 updates over on the PTR. While there's still definitely a lot of work to do, there is also some slowdowns happening, particularly when it comes to classes. Maybe PvP side will see a variety of different updates going forward, but when it comes to the PvE side of class tunings, it looks like it's starting to slow down, which sometimes signals that the patch is getting closer to completion, where it's more fine-tunings rather than massive swings of changes. We covered the class stuff earlier in the week, but now I want to cover everything else that wasn't covered in the class stuff in today's video. First things first, a brand new gear is available. This is some of the raiding gear that we'll be able to try out and earn once the new raid comes out. This gear is very special because it'll have a socket system that almost allows you to create your own tier set bonus. So this is going to be the domination gear. Every class has a couple different pieces for us to test right now on the PTR, and when it comes out, certain pieces of gear in the new raid will have these new sockets for domination socket gems. These gems can be acquired by buying them directly from a vendor in Korthia, and the currency in order to buy the gems itself will be available through the raids themselves. We also got to test out those tier set bonuses now. We had them data mined previously, but now we have a more real picture of what they're supposed to look like and feel like. The gems break apart into three categories: purple for unholy, blue for frost, and red for blood. Each one of those gems has a tier set bonus attached to it. The blue tier set bonus, while inside Maw or Torghast, which also includes the new raid since that's inside of Torghast as well, a portion of the damage or healing you do as a critical strike accumulates as a stack for wins. Every 20 seconds, the wins that you have accumulated unleashes itself as frost damage around you, and it also surrounds you in that wins for 20 seconds, absorbing 100% of the damage dealt by the wins themselves, which sounds like a tier set bonus more inclined for classes that are all about critical strikes, with some defensive capabilities as well. For the purple bonus, you have a chance for your abilities and spells to drain a soul fragment from your target, granting you 10% primary stats for 30 seconds, stacking up to 15 times. When you reach 15 stacks, unleash Chaos Bane, doing shadow damage split between nearby enemies, granting you 300% primary stats for 15 seconds. For blood bonus, every time you damage an enemy, Blood Link pulses every 3 seconds, doing a small amount of shadow damage to an enemy and healing you for 100% of the damage dealt. If your Blood Link would overheal you, it instead heals a nearby ally. All of these bonuses are designed where a tank, a healer, and a DPS can take use of them as well. To achieve this trifecta of the tier set, you have to have 3 of the same type of gem in your gear. However, you can't have copies of certain gems in your gear, so all the gems have to be different. Some gems will give you stats like speed or leech, which is not super consequential. Others will give you maybe an absorb or a chance on your healing and friendly abilities to heal an ally. Others will simply give you more damage, whether it is stacking damage the more you hit the enemy, more damage when you hit a new target, or more damage when the enemy's health percentage is lower than yours. It looks like Blizzard wants to make the tier set bonuses one of the stronger elements, since they right now seem to be a little stronger than gems. However, these gems can be used in Mythic Pluses. If you're a DPS, loading yourself with damage-oriented gems is a viable strategy. Same thing goes for players that are healers as well as tanks. So we'll have to see how Blizzard balances this. At first, it seemed to me like a system that was designed mostly for raiders to have raiding gear be the best in raids because of the tier set bonuses. But what if these gems end up scaling out of control and are really super lucrative in Mythic Pluses? That means players that mostly want to gear through M+ will feel like they have to do raids. And definitely there's going to be a lot of balance to do, but this gives us even more customizability over the gear we wear. Together with the different legendaries we use, conduits, and soulbinds, this is quite a lot of creativity in terms of how you build your character. I wish Blizzard the best of luck in terms of balance in this, and hopefully it'll be a nice addition to patch 9.1. We even got more updates for Torghast, which seems to be going through even more iterations. I got to play through new Torghast, so here are some of the tips that I have. First of all, to get a flawless run in Torghast, Blizzard made it even easier. So for those of you wondering that Torghast is going to be a speedrun competition so you can get more soul ash and more rewards from Torghast, whether cosmetic or otherwise, it is not going to be super intensive. It looks like the UI looks a little bit cleaner, but also the empowerment bar has been changed. The better you do in Torghast, the more enemies you slay, the more vials you destroy, and the more souls you rescue builds up an empowerment bar. Once your character is empowered, you do a lot more damage and are a lot more effective at taking down enemies. You have better survivability, and you can use an empowerment bar in order to deal with certain powerful elites or large trash packs of enemies. The more you do while you're empowered in Torghast does count towards your score at the end. I end up spending very little time and getting very little value out of my empowerments, but I still was able to get a 5-star run very successfully without even having to go for a full 100% clear, maybe like a 90, 85-ish% clear of the full rooms. The Torghast vendors themselves also offer more goodies. If you're a fan of toys and being able to buy more stuff with Phantasma, then you'll have a lot more rewards for you to collect while inside of Torghast. Torghast Soul Ash and Soul Cinders will serve multiple purposes. First of all, you'll use them to craft legendaries, but the Soul Cinders themselves offer even more purpose. Once you're done crafting all your legendaries, you will now be able to use Soul Cinders to buy sockets for your character in patch 9.1. Soul Cinders will be kind of hard to get, and the sockets themselves for Soul Cinders will be pretty expensive, but that does bypass the whole repetition grind of Korthia that you'll need to do in order to have another way and another currency to spend on your sockets. Adding a gem slot to a piece of gear back in BFA was pretty lucrative, but in Shadowlands, while it's not as much of a gain, it is still pretty huge for those of us that want endgame content. Maybe you got that trinket, that helm, necklace, or any of the other specific pieces that can be socketed that are just best in slot for you, and now you want to put a socket in there and put a gem in there just to make it the best piece that it can be. This combined together with random drops from Torghast gives players so much opportunity to get sockets on their gear from the next patch, especially those of us that are very endgame oriented. Soulbinds are continuing to go through quite a lot of changes, and you should definitely peep them on the PTR. Choosing which covenant you play, Soulbinds will definitely make a pretty big impact in terms of your gameplay and the choices that you have to play with. For example, they recently nerfed the Earmere first trait available, the one where once your character dies, your armor is left to fight for you, healing and doing damage at 50% of the value for 10 seconds. That Soulbind will actually now have a 2-minute cooldown, which may change which Soulbinds you might want to run as a player when it comes to choosing which covenants you want to play. I'll probably end up making a separate video talking about all the different Soulbind updates that we're getting in 9.1 once we're getting closer to release. But if you're someone who wants to check them out on Wowhead in the Soulbind calculator for PTR, or simply hop on PTR yourselves to see some of the different changes and updates, I think it's definitely going to be worthwhile. If you're a Rogue player, then you've probably been waiting for some massive updates for patch 9.1, as it looks like Rogue updates have been pretty quiet. However, Rogues are getting a nice aspect of the game that no other class is, and that is the Daggers from Sylvanas will actually have a separate special effect. Like the Sylvanas bow, the Daggers themselves now come with an extra effect of shadow damage whenever they strike their target. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to end up in terms of balancing. There's also now an extra animation about the blades, but from what I've been able to see is just an extra bit of cloud towards the tip of the edge. So hopefully prepared for 9.1 to play Assassination, which looks like it has been kind of out of the spotlight except as of recent 9.0.5 updates, and it's looking like a really solid spec going forward to in patch 9.1. But otherwise, thank you so much for checking out this update video. Let me know your thoughts about everything we talked about and which updates were your favorite. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in another video.